COVID-19 has had a devastating impact on businesses worldwide. Small businesses face closure, and tough times are still ahead as people find themselves with tighter budgets to work with. However, the pandemic has also created a new opportunity for SMMEs to adapt to new ways of doing business. Joining a community by using an online platform opens opportunities to gain exposure and attract more customers. Linda Mwamba, CEO and founder of Suki Suki Naturals, is one such an entrepreneur who shares her experience with us. You have quite an interesting background. So I understand that you were born in Kinshasa, you lived in Brussels, and then later on in Johannesburg. So tell us more about life growing up.
So I grew up, as you said, I was born in Kinshasa. We left Kinshasa in '91 when the war broke out. We decided to go to Belgium, lived in Brussels for a good 7 years. In an attempt to go back home to Congo, 7 years later, we thought, let's go back home. It's time, everything's stable. Another war broke out, so we got a bit unlucky with that. And because my family didn't want to go back to Europe, we decided, let's just come to South Africa to see how things go. The intention was never to really stay permanently, but we thought, let's come to South Africa. It's closer to home, and let's see how things go with, political stability, that side. And my parents fell in love with South Africa, and it was just such a beautiful country and so welcoming. And so we decided, let's settle here. I still have a very strong link back to Congo. But yeah, I'm based here.
I imagine home will always be home. But what is also interesting about your background is that you ditched a career in law for beauty, and it must be quite lucrative given that you're still in the industry. So tell us a bit more about your journey into beauty and your establishing of your company, Suki Suki.
So going into beauty was never really my career choice. It was more like a passion. And I started off with natural. What got me into beauty was my love for natural hair. And back in 2017, I decided to grow my hair naturally and just struggling. It's just such a struggle to find products on the market for my hair type. And I just couldn't afford it. Yeah. And just the idea of not being able to afford to have your hair naturally on your head as it's supposed to be was devastating to me. How come, companies didn't have products for me? How come the products that they did have for me were super filled with chemicals, too pricey, or both? Mm-hmm. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this work by myself. There must be something that I can do to help myself. So it started there. And what ended up happening is I worked with clays, I worked with butters, I worked with oils, with herbs. Clays would help me clarify my hair, so I would be able to wash my hair without stripping it of its moisture with clays. I was able to condition my hair using yogurt and honey. I was able to make my own oil concoction using different essential oils and carrier oils. So it was my solution for myself. Mm-hmm. And I remember at the time my mom had traveled to Canada to visit my brother, and I was like, please bring me back products. And it was so unbelievably expensive. Even that side where they had started a market for it. It's like, never mind, how do you make this work? So it was really that. And then I decided to turn passion into profit when people got to see how my hair grew, and they were like, okay, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm actually not buying anything on the shelves, I'm making everything myself. And so they asked for it and they liked it. So I was like, okay. And they asked for more, and I was like, okay. So and it was actually getting expensive for me because I was sharing it with so many people, So it was really, really great to see that they liked it. And then I was like, you know what? It's worth turning passion into profit. And in about 2012, I had small little bottles of the miraculous oil that is my bestseller today still, the first formula for it. And that sold super quickly. I went to the US, I came back, and they had sold out. I went to the US to do the New York bar. My intention was still to go the legal route. I wanted to practice in New York, but that didn't work out for me. So I came back home to regroup, and when I got home, my mom was like, Linda, your product sold out. I was like, really? And she's like, yes, but you need to make an effort with the packaging, and you need to have a label. Those bottles are too small. I was using 50 ml bottles in plastic. It didn't look like much. She just encouraged me to kind of take it more seriously. And so I did. And fast forward a year later, I launched officially. And that was in 2014. And fast forward 6 years, I'm still in the business. But what it really takes to be in the business is to no sacrifice. Because I only left law in 2017. This needs my full attention.
But Linda, just operationally, what does your business look like? Where's manufacturing done? Where's distributions done? I mean, how many people are you employing at this time? And how far do your products go?
So currently, so I started manufacturing my own product. I was manufacturing, dispatching orders all by myself for quite a while, and now, as of today, my products are being manufactured in the Western Cape. So everything's manufactured in South Africa. My packaging is from South Africa. Dispatching happens also in the Western Cape because it's not far from an operational point of view. I just thought it'd be best for warehouse and the lab and factory to be close to each other. I'm based in Johannesburg. So I deal with all the operations via telephone, via email from here. But operationally, everything is working that side.
And talking about profits and your journey of turning passion into profits, how have profits been lately? I mean, we are all still grappling against this pandemic, and it has had different impacts on different industries. What has been notable, however, is the natural hair market has been relatively good in the sense that initially here with our lockdowns in South Africa, we couldn't go to hairdressers, so we had to do everything ourselves. How has that impacted on your business and your orders?
It impacted my orders positively. I really saw a huge number of orders coming in and still coming in, because what has happened is it has forced women to reconnect with not only their natural hair but with their skin, their routine. You no longer had the option of going to the spa to get your facial. So how do you do that at home? Are there options for you to do that at home? Of course there are. Basically putting the power back into the consumer's hand. And that's basically how I grew up. So for me, it wasn't that much of a shock to take care of my own hair, my own nails, my own skin. But I understand that it was a shock for most women, for many women. And I always market my product is a care product more than anything. We really believe in caring and in health before styling or makeup or anything else. The philosophy of the brand is really to care for yourself and for your skin and your hair. So we were really at the right place at the right time. Our message was even stronger because people really internalized it and they really believed it for themselves. We didn't need to force feed anything onto them. It was really like, you know what, actually I want to grow my hair. Let me get a miraculous oil. Let me do my treatments. And I harass my customers. I'll tell them, you want to grow your hair? Do your treatments every week. Do your treatment. That's how it, and obviously eat well and live well, but treatments are super important. Just as you would get a facial treatment to kind of, for different reasons, hair treatments, you don't need to be in a hairdresser to do a hair treatment. You can really do it in the comfort of your own home. So really democratizing beauty in that way for our customers. Yeah,
definitely. And then, I mean, of course, we also had movements like the Black Lives Matter movements, where we saw a lot of focus being put on just how black businesses had been excluded from the formal economies in many countries, and we had a lot of companies also waking up to that reality and onboarding a lot more black businesses in their retail stores. Is this a phenomenon that you experienced?
I did. I experienced retailers approaching me, and they're still approaching me. But what I've found is that I love being in a position where I do believe that after a couple of years in business, you earn your stripes to not be fussy, but really to choose who you decide to partner with. I also do believe in seeing the authenticity of the people you partner with.
All right.
Like, it can't just be about looking good. You really need to believe in what I'm doing. It can't be about you looking good as a company, bringing on a black woman, which is precisely why I'm so grateful for the people that believed me before this was even a thing, you know? So I'm grateful for that.
Is that how your partnership with Visa came along? So tell us a little bit more about that.
So the partnership with Visa was not centered around, you know, what was happening with the Black Lives Matter movement. They really, and I had seen what they had been doing with Where You Shop Matters before. So it was just a timing thing, you know. And it also shows their authenticity because they had been preaching the message about, you know, shopping local. And from a global point of view, they haven't been saying shop local only African businesses. They're saying shop local because shopping local, shopping close to home creates jobs. It really opens up the economy to people who would not have access. It encourages manufacturers, it encourages craftsmanship and artisans, you know. And I love that message. That's what I'm about. And I think starting also like acknowledging the small, as opposed to always going for the, oh, you know, we're going to go, let's support the big companies. Let's always go for, no, I think as consumers, we have a lot of power in our pocket and we need to know where we're putting our money. You know?
Agreed.
Yeah.
No, agreed 100%, and we have seen that happening. But just going back to COVID-19 and just the way that it has changed a lot of things, with the risk of potentially contracting it with the physical exchange of money. A lot of consumers here on the continent who previously trusted their cash have been averse the cash, given the fact that, oh goodness, I could potentially contract the virus from this, and a lot more payments have become digital. Just how has that migration to a more digital payment systems affected your business? I mean, where in the race or the line was your business, even perhaps before the pandemic, in terms of digitizing?
So we still, before the pandemic, most of our sales were in store. So people had the option or opportunity to buy their products in a store and pay in whatever way that they wanted to. But of course, after the pandemic, with social distancing and wanting to be careful and not manipulate cash that travels so quickly, people have really they've given that more thought, and the increase in online orders was really big. And I really appreciated it because I felt like it was time that people trusted, and it's a trust thing ultimately. When you realize that your order will arrive the minute that you pay with your card, and no one's trying to steal, your money via, the payment gateways, it's a trust thing. And as with everything, we need to get used to it, and I think it's good. Africans are getting used to it. We're seeing it all over the continent.
Because I see that with Visa specifically, in the US, they noted research that the number of people that were tapping on the ATMs had shot up. And I can understand this, because naturally you don't want to touch anything with your finger, because therein is another area of contraction. And I'm just wondering, from your experience and how things are done now in your stores, now that hair salons and beauty salons are able to open, that migration onto or using contactless payment infrastructure and equipment, has that always been the case for you, or have you also had to accelerate your digital strategy to adapt to the current times?
So we've always been more on the digital side. I don't have a physical store of my own. So my partners, the retailers that I partner with, Woolworths and Wellness Warehouse, have those capabilities in store. And we are finding that cash sales are really minimal and people are mostly tapping. And they have, what's great is that they had that infrastructure before. So the trend is most people are tapping and, paying, not even inserting their card, really just tapping. So again, a good habit to take on.
Yeah, definitely. I must say I'm liking it. In terms of the small business sector, and this is all around the world, not only here in Africa, the small businesses have been the most hit by the pandemic and the subsequent lockdowns. I mean, you say that you are in operation for 6 years. That's great. A lot of businesses have currently had to shut because of, cash flow drying. So tell me a bit more about this particular campaign that you are part of with Visa, the way you shop matters, and how it helps small businesses like yourself.
What's great about the campaign that Visa put together is it gives visibility to small businesses so we can best find and recognize them. In a pool of many, many businesses in Johannesburg, in South Africa, for instance, people will think that shopping local is shopping in a business that is based here. But there are many international businesses based here. So knowing that you are contributing to a company whose roots are here. They are employing locals. They are using local sources is great. So what's great about this this platform is if you go on www.visa.co.za, you can either register your own business or register somebody else's business that is local, so that other people who are looking for businesses to support can find them. So I just thought it was great. I also thought I couldn't believe that nobody had thought of it before.
Sure.
Such a simple idea, but really can change the game for many small businesses and give them the visibility that they need.
Have you seen any benefits, as in terms of the number of taps or online transactions that you've been able to get as a result of being on this platform, this go-to platform for small businesses?
It's definitely allowed us to reach new customers that we may not have been able to reach alone. Having a partner as a small business, any partner, a partner with as much visibility as Visa has increased our online orders. It has increased our visibility and local support in general. So, yeah, definitely seen that. Yeah.
So you'd certainly advise or recommend other small businesses that perhaps are not on it as yet to do so.
Definitely. And I mean, I'm so glad I'm part of the campaign because it's literally reiterating something that I believed. I'm not forced to believe just because I'm a business owner and local business owner. I'm forced to believe because I've seen the impact just by supporting a business. Every sale counts for us. Really.
So I can imagine a number of small businesses that are potentially watching this and recognizing that they have to ramp up their digital strategy, but also, looking at the rands and cents that have been coming into their establishments, and, particularly businesses that haven't been in a sector or an industry like yours that has benefited from the pandemic, businesses that have been left dry, thinking, okay, I want to be on this platform, I want more reach, I want more visibility amongst my clients, but at what cost? What is the additional costs of being here? I mean, is it something that they have to really budget for significantly, or is it affordable in your view?
It's free.
Wow.
So that's no one. If you are to register to this platform, it's 100% free. So it's literally free marketing for you and your business.
And to the rest of the businesses, mainly in Africa, where cash has been the preferred method of payment because of the trust issue, what would you say to such businesses, small businesses on the continent that are still thinking twice about integrating more digital payment systems into their day-to-day way of doing things?
I would say, okay, firstly, obviously the pandemic kind of pushes you to not exchange cash, right? So if I were to speak to a small business on the continent, I would say it may not be, there may be a distrust still, but I just believe that any change that needs to come, it disrupts you. It disrupts the way you think. Getting them to trust you, basically, is where your campaign or let's just say your marketing should be around. You know what? This is how we've decided to move forward. Please support us in that. And the more people support you, the more they'll be like, actually, it's so easy. There's been a lot of cashless ways to exchange money that we've seen on the continent. So I think people they're we're capable as Africans to just adapt. It's just, I think it's an education thing and a trust thing, yeah.
Education and trust. Linda, we've been speaking about the positive aspects that has come to your business as a result of COVID-19. Very few industries have benefited, and don't feel guilty for being one of them. But I imagine that the pandemic has come with its challenges, even for an industry like yours.
Yes. So the pandemic and its challenges, it's forced me to re-look at my relationship with my customer. To look at how I was negatively maybe fueling it, and to create more of an intimacy. So I guess the negative part is that you really have to take a deeper look at, okay, how am I communicating with my customer? Because obviously there have been parts that may not have worked in the past, and now I really have to create this intimacy and what's the word? And invest more time in having that intimacy with them and that dialogue, because it's no longer, again, you think about, well, where am I investing my money? How does that translate financially for the business? It means more digital marketing. It means being on social media, getting them content that they can relate to, being authentic, but that's an investment. But you have to take a closer look at yourself to kind of be like, well, I did not do them right in that way. I can do a better job. But that's business. You live and you learn and you grow. Yeah.
Linda, for businesses that are either in your industry or are in the SMME space, I mean, looking at you right now and seeing that, okay, you've passed that 5-year threshold where it's either you break down by then, or your chances of success are looking pretty good once you get over that line, and who are wanting to understand what's going in your mind right now and the tips that you're even giving to yourself about how to not only survive in this current climate, but also to thrive in the next normal or the new normal that everyone speaks of. What would you say?
I would say, I have a couple. The first is start where you are and know your price. Know your price as a business. What are you charging? Who's your market ultimately? Who's your market? That'll allow you to know your price, because that is literally the only thing, if not the only thing, but one of the most important things for you to grow. So if you know how much you're charging A, multiply that by 500, or whatever amount, and you'll know that, okay, well, in so much time, I'll be making this money. These are my expenses. This is my income. I think a lot of businesses underestimate their expenses and how much money it takes and time. Because time is money, literally, in business, like whether you're selling a product or a service, you need to factor that in. I would say be authentic, know your why, know why you're doing what you're doing. Don't follow trends. Forget about trends. Trends come and they go. Know why you're doing what you're doing. Like, is this really the industry for you? You may love makeup from a consumer point of view, but that doesn't mean you need to go and start making your own makeup. Right? And I'm seeing a lot of those trends like, oh, I love makeup, I need to start. Not really. Maybe you're better at something else. Maybe you're actually better at being a makeup artist, That's where you could thrive so I think really knowing why you're doing what you're doing, because that will keep you in.
Sure.
It will keep you up late at night. It will help you make those sacrifices.
In pricing, as an entrepreneur, do you adapt to the current trend in which a lot more people are out of pocket, or do you stick to your value proposition at the value proposition?
That is such a good question, because you want to be accessible to more people, but again, what are you selling and why are you selling it? If you're selling a premium product, you know that not everyone's going to be your customer. You already know that. You know that not everyone is going, and even if everyone was your customer, not everyone would be able to appreciate your processes, your ethos, your ingredients, and you don't want to sell yourself short. Like, I really believe in, what is it? You want to go to the table that you want to have a seat at the table that not only understands you, but appreciates you. And you will find that customer that will appreciate you, because you know why you're doing what you're doing.
Sure.
right? And because I know why I'm doing what I'm doing, I know why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. I know why I'm using glass instead of plastic. I know why I'm staying away from fragrances instead, as opposed to using essential oils. I know why. So I'd always be able to justify my price. Now, if that means that I lose some customers, it's obviously unfortunate, but hopefully when things come back up, they'd be able to come back. But what's also happening, and that's what's been surprising, I anticipated losing customers. Sure. Because of the pandemic, because I was like, well, people are losing their jobs, but I gained customers. So my value proposition must be strong enough,
It must be worth the price.
It must be worth the price.
Essentially. A last question, as a game changer in Africa's beauty industry, where do you see the sector headed? And how do you see the sector being reshaped by the digital transformation that the world is currently undergoing?
I'm so excited for Africa in general, but I'm very excited for Africa in the beauty and wellness space because we have everything here. And it's just a matter of recognizing what you have, where you are, why you're there. So I just think that if we as Africans pay attention, we could not only be part of the trends, not the trends, but be part of this sector. We can be the leaders in the sector. And I'm not saying that in an aspirational way. I'm really saying it because when you look at every natural brand, where are they getting their shea butter from? Where are they getting their cocoa butter from? They're getting it from here. So we need to be able to take advantage of that. We don't have to leave the continent to make amazing products. Now, from a digital point of view, I think that so much can be done. I mean, wow, like it's time that we really take it on, And I'm seeing it. I'm being approached by more African retailers that have online stores. So that's like one of the ways that I see it because I'm within the market. I'm within the sector. So I see it in that way, but I also feel like customers are, why must I always go to the shops to get my products? Why can't it be delivered to me? And as much as in different countries, for instance, in Congo, in the DRC, what I found is that people are getting their things delivered to them by bike because there's incredible, there's a lot of traffic. Right? So you can't afford to kind of have your stuff delivered via, a courier service like you would. Everything's happening on bikes. And I'm like, there you go. The population's there. The demand is there. Let's take over. There's so much to be done. And that's an opportunity for you to open the back end of that online store so that you can get things to your customer. And in everything today, we can do our groceries online. We can, some things can't be done online, but we can shop online. Sure. For pretty much everything. So I think it's time for Africa to get on board.
Sure. Linda, we'll leave it there. Thanks much for your time and we look forward to our conversations again in the future.